The next gentleman that will be coming up is someone that I choose to call a pace setter, a trailblazer. Like we said earlier on, we're talking about parenting in Canada, and he's someone that is well versed and well experienced when it comes to parenting in Canada. He has lived in Canada for over 50 years. If I have my information right, for over 50 years. I mean, I can talk about the fact that I came to Canada in 1971 or 2. I think 1972. I think I can talk about the fact that he's Toronto's first police officer of Nigerian origin. And he's all, yeah, you can clap for him. And he's also the author of the best-selling book, Don't Give Up. If you've not read that book, I implore you to please go to Amazon and grab a copy because his story is very motivating. Don't Give Up. That's the title of his book. He's a distinguished gentleman and family man, a husband, father, grandfather. He has been married to the love of his life, the one that dots his I's and crosses his T's, the one that every time he looks into her eyes, there's always a smile that is plastered on his face. Frances, for over 50 years, they've been married for 52 years to be exact. I think there's another round of applause. And they are both parents to 3 accomplished and successful children. Elizabeth Omolola, who is 50 years old, Ojo Tewogabde, who is 46 years old, and Florence Zona, who is 42 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, for the second time at the View stage, please let's be very welcome retired Constable Ojo Tewogabde as he dances off. Let's celebrate Grandpa. Let's celebrate him. Come on down.
Hello. Thank you. Actually, this is a gift. MC Koye, this is a gift for the audience. I don't know if you're going to do your usual quizzes, but this is a book written by our daddy. The last time he was here, we did talk about it. It's about his biography. You're going to hear a little bit more from him tonight, but this book is so much worth the read. It goes much more beyond himself to his call to duty, his faith, family, and just coping with the hazards of work, the work he does, and living in a city, which he has lived in for the past 52 years. So a lucky person will win this tonight, I'm sure. But there's a lot more. There are actually more copies out there if you want to purchase it, and it's $20. And I'm sure you can buy as a gift for Christmas. And many family gatherings coming up soon. Birthdays, Christmas, makes a good gift. Thank you. So tonight is about parenting. And I asked a friend of mine, I said, can you just give me some pointers about parenting in Canada? And she said, that is huge. Where do we even start from? And quite frankly, how do we discuss parenting in 1 hour or even 2 hours? But we're just going to be scratching the surface tonight. What we have decided to do, myself and our panelists, what we've decided to do is to break this up in series. So tonight we're going to be talking about the cultural aspect and the social aspect, and even those we will barely be scratching the surface. But Daddy, retired Senior Constable Ojo Tewogabde, he has been so willing to come and talk to us about the social aspect today. He's had a lot of experience working with youths and drug youth in the enforcement program, drugs and youth, policing and youth. And he's going to tell us about the shoebox syndrome. When I spoke with him, I had to plead with him. I said, Daddy, please, you have to come and talk to us about this, because it will blow your mind what is out there. When you come from Nigeria, we all have left our country to Canada. It's very troubling that many parents literally feel that they have come to the promised land and they are leaving their children to the state, pretty much. What do I mean by that? The public school in Canada is better than the best university in Nigeria. So if the children are there, they are doing fine. You are not paying attention to what they're doing. You come to Canada. Before you came to Canada, you take your children to church every Sunday. Wednesday, Bible study. Sunday, church. Suddenly you come to Canada, extracurricular activities. Hockey is on Sunday, so we can't go to church. Football, soccer is on Sunday, we can't go to church. And then, by the time the child is 12, you blame the child for not going to church with you. Like, who started it? How did we get here? We're not going to go into religion because it's wide, it's broad, but these are things that we can be thinking about as we tackle some of these issues tonight. Another thing that parents should think about. Many children in Nigeria, before they come here, they are used to having 12, 16 subjects in school. As a parent, when the child starts doing 3 subjects in school here and thinking, this is not school, this is not school, the child just feels, we're only doing 3 subjects. Be following up with the child. A child that is highly motivated will drop low because they don't feel challenged. Parents, are we doing this? Like I said, we're not even going to scratch the surface. Parenting is huge. And as I was talking with Daddy during the week, I said to him, people have not registered for this program. It's been out. We only have about 5 people that have registered. He said, it's not surprising. He said, you know why? If the principal of a school calls them and says, come to my school, your child has done this, they'll be there in 5 minutes. But if you have a parenting conference such as this, they won't show up. So we need to talk to each other. We need to be talking to people because it's easy to lose ourselves in this community, in this society. This society has room. It gives that room for children and parents to actually lose themselves. And at the end of the day, you probably will lose your identity. The child that is used to eating amala comes back and says, ew. And you encourage it. Say, we only eat pizza in our house, so apart from the foolishness of it, you are also putting this child's health at risk. There's obesity, there's diabetes. So are we actually thinking that we're in the promised land? Because if that's the case, then we need to think again. I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to allow Daddy to tell us a few things. And just to make sure that his presentation flows, I'm not going to interrupt you, but we're going to start with police and youths. And then maybe we'll ask a few questions along the way. So that, I know that when you do these presentations, you like to stand up. You usually would have a podium to do so. But yes, bear with us today. Unless you want to use the podium, that podium, of course, you're free to do so. But if you're comfortable here or at the podium, please do so, sir. Would like to hear. Absolutely.
Good evening. Yes, first I should say to every one of you here, that one of the most annoying things is for someone like myself to get a call that a young man has been arrested by the police. And I do get lots of those calls, especially when they're Nigerians. or Ghanaians. And what I found as time goes by is that most of the calls, when these arrests happen, unfortunately, is because of ignorance and stupidity. If I may just say to every one of you here tonight, if your son or your daughter is going to school in England, and you get a call that your son or your daughter was in a situation and assaulted the Queen Elizabeth of England, how would you feel? Queen Elizabeth of England. Anyone? Alarm. But here in Canada, what we don't understand is that when a police officer is wearing this uniform, whether it's Royal Police, York Regional, Peel Regional, OPP, RCMP, you know that each police officer you see is actually Queen Elizabeth of England. Because once this uniform comes on, I am representing Queen Elizabeth of England. So in every docket, every arrest you see, if a young black is arrested, you will see on top of the document say Rex versus whoever. That Rex means Queen Elizabeth of England. So it's a very serious offense. Well, let's do a small scenario. And please, I always encourage lots of questions. If you don't understand, please ask. A young man is coming from school and he's standing at the bus stop waiting for bus. He had his hoodies on. And a police car was driving by. This was about 9 p.m. at night. And they stopped. One of the police officers got out to ask him, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? The kid is just coming from school. Is anything wrong with coming from school and waiting for bus? Then the police officer went further. What's your name, sir? Yeah, please. Yes. Yeah, go on up. Yeah, please. Yeah, just come on up. You're looking at Hollywood star right here. It's happening taller than I. Just remember when you're driving the Rolls Royce, you know, remember. So this young man is coming from school. He's standing at the bus stop. That's the bus stop right there. Is he breaking any law? No, just waiting for bus. And the police officer came. He asked him for his name. And he demanded to see an ID. Does the police officer have the right to ask him for an ID? He hasn't done anything wrong. If you look in the criminal code, you see, criminal code is very tricky. A police officer do not have any right, none, to ask him for an ID because he's just standing at the bus stop. And sometimes these young people believe that. And say, well, I don't have to tell you my name. You know, what would you ask my name for? Then one thing leads to another. Next thing you know, he's been arrested for what they call fail to identify himself. Well, the same criminal code that says that he doesn't have to give his name, also in the little fine line says, unless the police officer is investigating a prior incident in that area. How does he know that? So usually what I tell parents is that, look, tell your young people, if a police officer comes and interviews him, just cooperate with him. It might be the meaning, your friends will tell you that you don't have to talk to the police. Even they will say sometimes to me that, but lawyer said I don't have to talk to the police. No, lawyer didn't say that. What lawyer said is that if you are being arrested, then you don't incriminate yourself, don't say anything to them until I come there. So now this young man, now get this, because he refused to identify himself, one thing leads to another, then I'm going to arrest him for fail to identify himself. But in order for me to arrest him, I have to get physical control. Because he's angry now, because he's black, watch what he does. Would you move over there, please? Just keep going. What has he just done? Did you believe he just assaulted me? Yeah. Because, listen to me, he's angry that I'm only tormenting him, harassing him, so I'm trying to grab him, he breaks himself off. I've just been assaulted. No, please, that is the way the criminal code is written. Okay, now, get this. Now, so all of a sudden, he's been arrested now for failure to identify himself, assault to resist arrest. 3 charges, right away. Now, let's go one step further. Because he's angry, see, I have a little radio here. I don't have to say anything, just press the yellow button. I guarantee you, 2 seconds, there'll be 10,000 police officers all over the place. Okay, so now, the criminal code says, if I want to take this guy down to arrest him, I can use as much force as necessary. But what is necessary? He's aggressive because he's angry, rightfully so. But the criminal code says, I can use as much force as necessary, so I arrested him. But during the arrest, I had to take him down with the other guys, and his head is now split open. It's bleeding. You think? Of course, once we arrest him, we're going to take him to the hospital for medical things, but he's still under arrest. Then we're going to call mom and dad at home. They will come. Okay, because we call them, should we allow mom and dad to talk to him? No. We just let them know. The only person that can talk to him is a lawyer. So now, look at how simple it is. Just ID. Now, the average lawyer in this country, and I worked with Toronto Police on this street for 35 years. Now I'm a counselor for Toronto Police. That simple thing, failed to identify himself. By the time we finished and the lawyer gets in, I bet you it's going to cost an average mom and dad to get him off $20,000. Easily. Lawyers' fees. And in fact, when the lawyers come to us, the lawyer is going to ask me, well, give me the rundown what this kid did. I arrested him for failure to identify himself, assault to resist arrest. As a matter of fact, when I was going through his pocket, he had a penknife. So I'm actually arresting him for possession of a weapon dangerous to the public. So the lawyer will now tell me, okay, well, officer, if I can speak to his mom and dad, would you be willing to just hold him on one charge, fail to identify, and let the other charges go? That's fine. But the young black man just end up with a criminal record. If it's difficult enough to get a job as a black person, you can imagine with a record now. Whereas, it's as simple as the police officer comes, what you need, just tell him. Because the same criminal code that says you don't have to talk to him, put a fine note in there that unless there is a previous problem in that area, but he doesn't know that. So to save ourselves all the aggravation, in my opinion, it's just right to just let the young man cooperate with the police. My name is also so, and my address is also so. I'm just coming from school, officer, and say that it's over. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Now that is there any question? Yes, sir.
We know that the skin color places many of us at a disadvantage already. Yes, but
Sorry, I can't hear you. I don't know if that's
we know that the skin color places many of us at a disadvantage already. Yes. Now, for those of us that are parents of teenage boys especially, I know two topics that are always hot in the house are topics to do with wearing a hood and the kind of hairstyles that our boys insist on doing nowadays. In your experience, do those also contribute to the prejudices that might further disadvantage them?
Well, I believe it's all perception. I was at Jamaican Canadian Association one time. I was called to speak to a group of young people. And one of them actually totally hated the police because of his interaction with the police. There were about 6 police officers there, and I was with them. And they were all asking questions. And one of the young people said, the young man says to the police that they have been harassing him for so many times and he hates the police, and he went on and on, and that's fine. But then I asked him I got up and I said, sir, looking at you, have you been smoking marijuana today? He said, yeah. Okay. Because I think his speech was a little slow and his brothers. I said, well, you said the police were disrespecting you. Are you not disrespecting us right now? He was probably the most intelligent kid at school, if he only applied himself. I came to this country when blacks were not even wanted at all. And that was 1972. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, there have been places where we go to the say job help wanted, and when we get there, no, we don't want you. But in those days, there were no human rights. None whatsoever. You cannot complain. But we survived it. Why? Because I remember where I come from. Black on black over there. You see what I mean? So yes, hoodie can add to it, but one thing to keep in mind is that, in my own experience, when you are out on the street between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., you probably won't have an interaction with the police. It's usually after 7 p.m. Because they say that's when all the bad guys come out. And the biggest thing is not the hoodie, is the parents. Because many of our parents, they have time to go to parties on Saturdays and things, but they don't even know how the school their kids going to looks like. They've never been there. They think that because he's going to school, the teacher or the principal are responsible. No, they are not. They only see your kids when he's at school, but you live with him. And the thing, I will discuss that later on, but the attitude of your son, you don't have, I have 3 kids, thank God. My daughter is 50 years old, my son is 46, and my baby is 42. We have never spined them before. Never in this country. They were all born in this country. But the thing is, as they start to grow, we don't see them as our kids anymore. We see them as our friend and partner. So we let them into discussions about whether we are buying a house or we are buying a car, we're going on holidays, we all discuss together. But most African parents don't do that. And not only that, when African parents are going on holidays, strangely enough, they go to Nigeria. The kids don't want to go to Nigeria, they want to go to Mexico. See what I mean? Now, the second, sorry.
I think we're going to go on to street and gang studies. Yes. This discussion you just had leads nicely into that. And we're going to save the questions for the last because we still have the panel coming up. So you have a chance to ask your questions.
Okay. I've placed before you 2 scarves. One is blue, one is red. Is there anything wrong with these scarves? Ordinarily? Or would you believe if I tell you that these 2 scarves, you can actually buy them for $2 in any dollar store. But I can assure you that these 2 scarves are responsible for at least 60% of what you call drive-by shootings. These things. This one here, it's designed, that's what they think, it's designed for the guy called Bloods. Bloods. This guy is what they call Crips. Now, on Whitmore Avenue, Dolphin and Eglinton, a young man, Italian, bought this at a dollar store and he was in the parquet playing basketball. He was innocent. Everybody was buying it, so he just bought it. Unfortunately, that area belongs to the Crips. When they saw him playing basketball there, they believed that he came to disrespect them. And that young boy, before we got there, was stabbed 7 times. 7 times. Thank God for a lady that lives across the street that called 911 and was telling them police are coming. That kid didn't die, he survived. But, oh, that's not all. You see, their idea is, this guy is here, so stupid. It's not written in the law, but that's their lifestyle. They said, if you're wearing this one, there are certain clothes or name brand that you can wear. This one says we have our own, and if you're not one of us, you're not allowed to wear it. So here is one of them. Adidas shoes. Adidas shoes, name brand Adidas. If you are not a member of Crips, you better don't allow your kid to wear it. Isn't that silly? In this Ontario. And trust me, like I said, I have been with Toronto Police for, that's about 46 years now, so I know. It's not registered anywhere in the law. There's nothing wrong with wearing Adidas shoes. It's just that they say, well, if you are not one of us, you can't wear it. So if he's wearing it, they can stab him. Another thing they claim, oh, and they said, Adidas shoes, A-D-I-D-A-S, when they turn it around, it means to them, all day long, I destroy a slum in the city of Toronto and Ontario. As long as we are wearing Adidas, our job is to destroy these kids in this country. The other one is FUBU. If you are not a member of this group, you are not supposed to wear FUBU. I don't know where they got that from. But whether it is legal or not, well, kids are getting beat up, and kids are getting stabbed, and kids are getting shot. That's the reality of it. And you will also know that 98% of the time, before we get there, the deed is done. Because we get 911 call, the kid's already stabbed. The other one, they said the kid is K-Swiss. Unless you're a member of this group, you can't buy any name brand that's called K-Swiss. The other one is British Knights. Unless you are one of us, you can't wear British Knights. Now, when we arrest these kids, they are incredibly disrespectful. They have no use for life. And they will go to jail, they don't care. Well, perhaps the reason they don't care is because 2 or 3 of their initiations, when a young man is just recruited, he has to pass the initiation. And one of the initiation is, they might take him to the back of a factory, and about 6 people, young people like himself, they put him in the middle, and they continue to punch him back and forth, and he's not supposed to lift a hand. Just take it, we want to see how strong you are. And in other cases, they will put him on the floor, and they will take turns, everybody urinating on him. In some cases, they'll give me a baggy clothes with inner pockets, go to 7-Eleven, go and steal enough food for every one of us if you're tough. That's what's going on out there. This one here, they said that their own name brand is Reebok. Unless you're a member of the Bloods, you cannot wear Reebok. Another one, they said Calvin Klein. If you are not one of us, don't wear Calvin Klein. And the other one is Mecca brand. However, how threatening is that? Well, even the Bible that we always say that Satan is roaming around looking for whom to devour. When we leave our kids unattended, that's when the devil comes in. If you have your young person with you taking him to school or taking her to school, these guys will never come near you. It's usually when you just forget about them. We are in Canada now. Really? Yeah, I know we are in Canada, but does that mean we should abandon our kids? No. We are still responsible for them. Because if you don't take care of them, and they stab them, or beat them up, even if you arrest those kids, what good is it? Your kid is still stabbed, and this kid may be dead. Now, in the drug trade, they divide the ages. Any child between the age of 7 years old, and 15 years old, they all have the same name. They call them mouse. Rats in the house, they run around, that's their name. And they are what we call courier express. And you'll be surprised to know that most of these kids are usually kids that are abandoned because the parents live in Ontario housing, and mom is gone to work, and the kid is by themselves. I tell you, mom, if you buy a running shoe for your kid at Walmart, they won't get it, because their friends will make fun of them at school. And that's one of the main reasons why kids don't want to go to school, because they don't have name brands. If they have name brands and the wrong thing, then these people harass them. So when these kids are roaming around in Ontario housing, the drug dealers, they are very smart. They watch them and they'll call them. How come you're not in school? Well, the teacher gave me a hard time and said, come on, be honest with me. Well, they call me a duck. They call me goof, just because of this stupid shoe my mom bought for you. The drug dealer will give you the money that you don't have. Will tell you, don't worry about it, go buy the shoe. $250. The kid bought the shoe. 2-3 days later on, the jacket he wanted, they buy for him. Innocent children. And what happened? Now all of a sudden, in the mind of that young man, that guy there is his role model, his big brother. So now look what he's doing. It's very innocently. All he's going to say, Mike, could you do me a favor? Oh, yeah. Could you take this package to my friend for me at social address? The kid doesn't know that he's doing anything wrong. He just trusts his big brother. What's been happening? But he's peddling drugs. And the reason why that man is using him and calling him mouse is because he knows that under the Criminal Code of Canada, we will not arrest any child 7 to 15. That's why we call him mouse. So any kid over the age of 16, they call him senior citizen. And last time I checked, I am a senior citizen. But they know that that kid now can be arrested by the police, so they want nothing to do with them. That's what we are. What do you do though? There are lots of things you could do. There's this thing we call the shoebox syndrome. Mom, Dad, please. Periodically, go into your kid's room. Go under his bed. If you see a shoebox in there, more than likely, your kid is getting into gang. Because that's where they will roll up their money and the drugs, and sometimes a knife and a gun, and one of these. And they'll keep it under their bed. And if you ever go to their room and they catch you, oh boy, they'll be screaming. And if you tell them, clean your room is there, Mom, it's my room, and because they have something to hide. But it's your house. A lot of people, parents ask me about corporate punishment. Well, there's corporate punishment. In criminal process, you can discipline your kids. Yeah, this says that. But at what point do they now suddenly turn it into child abuse? You see what I mean? At my age, I can, if I take my shirt off, I can still show you some of my dad's belt on my back. But you're trying to discipline your kid, and then the kid goes to school, and he reports to the principal or his teacher. Under the criminal code, a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse have to report it. So they call the police, but simultaneously, they also call children's aid. Before we get there, children, they are there, and they're already taking statements. And by the time we get there, yeah, it's child abuse. We're going to take the kid out of this school, out of mom's house, and we're going to put him in a home. So something that is only that much, they make it big. And the kid is now being told, you don't have to live with your mom, we'll take care of you. Well, in your house, he has his own bedroom. He has his own TV. He has his own Walkman, whatever they have. But when he goes into that hostel, that's about 4 or 5 of them sleeping in the same room. So instead of the kid getting better, it only gets worse. So please, always check under the bed. They always seem to hide everything in the shoebox. And by the way, if your kid, because I asked a woman once before, I said, well, Mom, the kid was shot by another guy, and he's going to leave, and he did leave. But Mom said to me, my son has always been the best kid in the community. We'll never cause any problem and this and that. So all I asked her is that, what grade is he in at school? Mom doesn't know. Okay? How is his report at school? He doesn't know. So I had to go to the school, speak to the principal. That kid hasn't been to school for about 5 months. Now the thing is, I asked Mom, I said, but your son, see, think about it. Your son sleeps all day. He has no job. He doesn't go to school. He has a car, which is registered in your name, Mom's name. I can guarantee you, when I was on the road as a police officer, 98% of all the cars that I stopped, driven by young people, the plate is registered in their mom's name. And the car they are driving, it's not like, they used to stand up, we're talking brand new Lexus. And Mom, you're telling me that you didn't know that your son is doing something wrong? Where is he getting the money? He lives in the same house with you. We have to check this thing, because when it all comes down, guess who's going to be footing the bills? Listen, folks, that so much into this that can be discussed. In fact, I was saying to her that I could stand up here for the next 3 hours telling you all these different things that goes on in the life of kids that you wouldn't believe. But we don't have that much time. The only thing I can say to you right now is, please, don't let this scare you. If you take care of your kid, if you're there for your kid, if you know what's going on in your kid's school, and you periodically go to the school, speak to the principal, ask how your kid is doing, even if you don't have the knowledge to teach them, you can get them help. But if you don't do anything at all, by the time we call you as police, it's because that child is already arrested. I don't know how many of you may have heard, there was on the news just about a week ago, a young man who has 3 kids already. He has no job. He has 4 girlfriends, 2 baby mothers, 1 girlfriend in one part of the city, and he was with the other 4th one. Arguments started between them about 4 o'clock in the morning, and he shot her in the face and killed her instantly. It was on the news. That's what we don't want. It doesn't matter whether we are from Nigeria or anywhere we come from. When you bring your kid here, because you want them to do good, you want their life to be better than us. That's why we brought them here. But once you get here now, you can't just say, well, I get angry because some of our so-called fathers are not responsible at all. Because I've been to many homes whereby mom is the only one taking care of the kid, and these are Yoruba people. I said, where is the dad? I don't know. He just left one day and went back to Africa, to Nigeria, to go and marry another woman there. And this idiot thinks that by going to marry someone else in Nigeria, his life is going to be better. It's only going to be worse. Because the one, he can't even handle the wife here. The most important thing I can leave with you tonight is that shoebox syndrome. It's your house. If the kid's going to live in your house, you've got to check it. Also, I think last summer, an incident happened around Finch and Jane area. A young man came home, and his mother came home later on. And when his mom came home, she was making lunch. And when she was just about to call him, then she heard a loud noise. But because they live in the area where cars are always squealing, so she thought maybe some car was racing. So she called, and he didn't answer. So he went into the bedroom. They said, okay, your food is ready. He was playing with a gun, he shot himself in the head. He died instantly. But mom didn't know that that kid has a gun hidden in his room. Please check the rooms. It's your house. No police officer can arrest you for checking the room of your kid, and if you find a gun, well, the decision you make is not going to be up to yourself, because I know, especially mom who wants her kid to go to jail, you know, well, it's either you're going to give it to your pastor and let him handle it, or at least you know that the gun is no longer in the hand of your kid. And if it's got money rolled up with plastic or elastic on it, he's dealing in drugs. I guarantee you. And if he has any of these two, just these two. There are other colors, but these are the two main gangs in Ontario today. Bloods and Crips. And they are the ones that give police the worst headache. You ever watch it? If you're driving by or walking by and you see gravities on the wall, on this and that, these are the guys that are responsible for most of it. And they don't have any respect for the police at all. No respect whatsoever. But they are costing parents money. Lawyers. And the thing is, once a black kid has criminal record, in this country, I can assure you, his chances of getting a good job is gone. And if you have some families in any part of the United States, and you want to go for a wedding or something like that, that kid cannot go with you. Because once he has a criminal record here in Canada, he will not be allowed to go to the United States. So please, I can only appeal to everyone here, please, always check. You don't have to spine them. You just have to sit them down, let them know what you find, let them know your concerns. And if you start seeing strange friends coming to your house, you want to know who they are. You don't have to be afraid of your child. I don't want this friend in my house. You can say that.